Tools are great, and multi-tools in particular are very useful and come handy in a variety of circumstances, particularly when you're out and about, because they are so easy to just carry in your pocket and yet have a variety of functions. Unfortunately, the better quality ones are really rather expensive. Uh, we're looking somewhere between 1 and 200 for most of the good ones. So what about the inexpensive ones? Well, most of them run between 10 and 30, uh, 20 being about an average price. So what's good and what's not good? Well, there's a lot of them that are just basically rubbish. But I have recently acquired one which I'm going to have a look at with you in a moment. And it's a little bit deceptive because it's called a Swiss Tech. And it's deceptive because, of course, it has nothing whatever to do with Switzerland. It's made in China. That said, it's not bad. And for the cheap ones, I think it perhaps maybe the best value for money out there. Let's have a look. So the Swisstech 17-in-1 multi-tool comes in a nice cardboard box, comes with a thank you card from the company, which mentions a little something about them, and comes with a basic instruction sheet to show you the functions. The tool itself is sitting in a plastic section, which if you pull that out, you'll see it's actually full of foam. So it's nice and protected. But let's actually look at the tool itself. It looks like many other standard multi-tools. It has a clip for the belt, if you want that. And we have access to 4 tools from the outside and everything else is on the inside. It is, in fact, been said to be something of a clone of the Leatherman Wave, which makes sense since the patent on that has expired. And I would say it probably is about as near to a Leatherman Wave as you can buy without actually buying a Leatherman Wave. The big difference is the price, of course. This is, as I say, that low cost in around about the neighborhood, plus or minus 5 or 10 of about 20. I think it's possible if you look long and hard enough to find one for about 15. If you are a bit frivolous with your money, you could probably find one easily with 30, but 20-ish is about right. I bought this one for 17 pounds, which is about $22. I know this. I got this one from Amazon, as it happens, and at the moment Amazon are selling it for 21 pounds, so it's gone up a little bit, but that's still under 30. But compared to a lot of the DIY store multi-tools, this one is significantly better. It feels heavier and sturdier in the hand, and they are using better steel than a lot of the other cheap ones. Is it as good as an actual Leatherman Wave? Goodness, no. But a Leatherman Wave costs about 6 or 7 times as much as this. Is a Leatherman Wave 6 or 7 times as good as this? No, not at all. Maybe half as good again, or maybe even twice as good. Let's be generous. But I would say this is at least twice as good as the other models that are comparable in price on the market today. So let's have a look at the tools. So starting on the side without the clip, if I open that up, we have the file. You have this, if we come in closer, you can see it's sort of meant to be a bit of a diamond file, which might not be entirely useless. Then you have the wood file here, and on the bottom edge is a bit more file, narrow, but not real. It's a bit blunt. To be honest, I would need to go over that bit with a triangular file, diamond file, to actually sharpen that up a bit before it's of any use. In my opinion, by the way, this file is only it's really not very well made. Everything else about this I like, but the file is probably the least good bit of it, although it will work. It could have been better, and it kind of lets the tool down a little bit. It's held open with a liner lock, and I think that's everything we need to say about it, really. If I close that up and go to the other side, we have a knife blade, again held open with a liner lock. It's a little bit of a serration here, so again, things like wet rope and things of that nature, that would be extremely useful. The steel's not bad, and it does come sharp. On the side that has the belt clip, we have a wood saw blade, and this is not bad actually. It's comes in sharp, and that will work extremely well. It's more of a pull saw than push-pull, but well, it's a bit push-pull. It's not bad. A little on the short side. Comparable, I would say, in length to the saw blade you would find on a Swiss Army knife. But not bad. And again, we held open with a liner lock, as is the final blade, which is a more of a standard clip point knife blade. Again, held open with a liner lock and just under the 3 inches. It actually is sharp, although I can see the point of dressing that a tad, but yeah, comes out of the package in good nick. As I say, the only thing I have any disappointment on is the file, and otherwise it's not bad. If we open it up, of course, we find what is essentially needle nose pliers. You have the standard needle nose pliers section as well as the nut holding section, and if we have a look, I'll just grab a pen. If we have a look here, you can see you have the soft wire cutters, and right in the very base there's a slight bit of notch in there, and that's the hard wire cutters. And there's not really much movement, just laterally. It seems pretty sturdy, and while I have every confidence you could probably wreck this, out of the box it's in pretty good shape. And of course it just closes in the standard way. If we just open the one side, again we'll start with the non-clip side, we have a few extra tools on the inside, starting with the scissors. And these are surprisingly good scissors. I really like these. There's a button on the back panel here which you have to press because they're locked in the open position, and that fits back in nicely. Then we have a middle tool on this side, which is a small screwdriver, flathead, and a rope. It's called a rope cutter by them. I would call it a seatbelt cutter, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And then we have this other little notch, which is basically the thumb notch that we would pull it open with. And again, if I just press that down, that closes up. And then finally, we have an ordinary tin opener, can opener, however you want to pronounce it. And of course, you have a wire stripper insert. And I've tested this on a tin can, and it opened it just fine, no issue at all. So it works. If we just flip this over, and incidentally, you have the ruler markings here, there, and there, so you can use it as a straight edge and measure a few things. And then we have the tools on the other side, starting with the flathead screwdriver, the large flathead screwdriver, so for larger screws, that's quite useful. And again, it locks, and we just press the button on the back to close that. And then we have another tool. It's a sort of a 2-in-1. If I pull that open, again, that locks into position, and we have a Phillips head screwdriver. What you may notice is that there's something going on here, and if I release the lock and push it part way along, I can separate these two, put that back into the closed position, and that now locks open. And here we have a second Phillips head screwdriver, but a very petite one. So that would be useful for things like tiny screws on sunglasses, that sort of thing. And again, once you press the button, it falls into place. And that's it. That's everything about it. In my humble estimation, is this a good tool? Well, like I say, it's better than most of the ones that I've seen in the past. I've bought these sort of 10 or 15 cheapos from the DIY store in the past, and although they work, they're not great, and I wouldn't want to rely on one. Is this as good as a Leatherman Wave? No, of course not. It's not a bad copy, but it's not as good. But compared to the other ones of comparable price, it's at least twice as good as those. And if the Leatherman Wave is twice as good as this, Well, you choose how much you want to spend. You buy the one you want to, what you can afford. But if you can't afford something like a Wave or a Gerber or one of the other, I believe Victorinox make a particularly good one these days. If you can't afford one of the expensive ones that are costing between 1 and 200, or at least between 80 and 100, then something like this, which is a fraction of the price, is not a bad alternate. I mean, it would be great if we all had the money to buy the most expensive models out there, but the reality is we don't. So I hope you found that useful, having a look at this particular tool. And again, I believe that it is actually of a decent standard of quality. And would I endorse this? Yes, I would, because I think if you want this kind of tool in your kit, and you're not looking to spend huge money, then I think Swisstech is a good option. But don't be fooled, it's not made in Switzerland, and if it was, it probably would be a slightly higher standard, but then it would be a much higher price as well. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting, and if you have, please click like, please consider sharing this, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I hope to see you on the next one. Have a good one.